Thanks very much, Jim. Back to the business at hand. Tonight, we are coming to you from just outside Boston. We're about 20 minutes north of the suburb of Wilmington, Massachusetts. Beautiful aerial on a gorgeous night in the hub. Been a terrific weekend weather-wise. We bring you back into the Shriners Auditorium, built in 1968. Tonight, the debut of professional boxing here. And coming up next, our main event, the WBA Super Middleweight Championship. Fabulous Frankie Liles versus undefeated, #1 rated, yet relatively unknown Byron Mitchell. Well, when Frankie Liles knocked out Tim Liles in a wild, free swinging punch out that included arguably the best round and #1 knockout of 1996, he seemed destined for stardom. Since then, lackluster and infrequent performances have held him back. Longevity alone does not constitute a great fighter. Now Liles takes an introspective look at his career and shares his plans for the future.
I think it's not that far away.
So while success hasn't eluded Frankie Liles, after all, he is a world champion, the recognition he garners outside boxing circles is another story. While he hopes to punctuate his career with big money fights against world champions, Father Time waits for no one. If Frankie Liles has any intention of increasing his public recognition and elevating the mark he'll leave on boxing, the time is now. We return to Bobby Ches once again. Bobby, why hasn't the public embraced Frankie Liles? Is it the erratic schedule, his style? What do you think?
Well, I don't think he's fought often enough for starters. When you're out of the, you're out of sight, you're out of mind. People just kind of forget about you. At the same time, when he fights, he's a very smart boxer who doesn't like to mix it up if he doesn't have to. He's not exciting in that fashion, and that's what fans love. They love action.
Well, and I think if he wants to gain more recognition, he's got to move up in weight and fight Roy Jones Jr. Even if he looks good in defeat, he'd probably get more recognition that way than he has his entire career. Let's get your keys to victory.
Sure. Being a southpaw, he used that right jab. He's got to establish an effective jab. Use his big right hook. That's his big weapon. And tie Mitchell up on the inside. He doesn't like to fight there. Here we see him with Tim Liles. Tim Liles back to us. He's going to slip a straight left by Frankie. Duck to the right to counter, but what happens? Frankie beats him to the punch with his signature punch, the big right hook. This is how he has to use that hook. Use it on the counter on the inside. Liles is all but out there. Here's Mitchell, great straight right hand. That's what he's got to use. Work on the inside. Don't let Liles tie him up and go to the body hard. Slow him down. Here he's going to use a double jab, more of a feeler type of jab, just a quick pecker. Just it looks out there a little light, pecking with the jab, and then a big straight right hand against Garland here, who's also a southpaw. So he doesn't use a strong jab. He just kind of pecks it and leaves it out there just as a rangefinder. But that right hand is dangerous, and he needs to do that, Steve.
All right, Bobby, here is the challenger, hard-hitting Byron Mitchell, #1 contender according to the WBA, despite a totally unrecognizable ring record. While relatively unknown, he's undefeated in 19 fights, 15 by KO, including 11 in the first, 14 of his 15 KOs in 3 or less. Has a 5-fight knockout streak with 4 in round 1. Here he comes. But only 3 opponents had winning records when they fought Mitchell. Several of his opponents can't even be found in the ring record book. He KO'd the same opponent in the first round twice. That opponent was 0-13. Another guy was 1-19, and on and on. The southpaw style posing problems in the amateurs for Mitchell, but He figured things out in the pros. Liles is a southpaw with a heavy right. Mitchell's chin never really tested. So those are all things that have to be factored in. And Ferdy, we saw what happened last month when an unknown with questionable credentials knocked out the champ in 41 seconds. Are we looking at deja vu all over again?
Well, that's what you really can't tell. That's what's so great about boxing. That's why I love boxing so much. You think, well, we can see that again, but then it never happens again. Or the contrary to that, you think, wow, 2 times in a row, and it can happen 2 times in a row. This guy can bang. I mean, you looked at the tapes, I looked at the tape, he can bang. He has some mistakes going, and he's going against a veteran. It's not going to be easy to clock Frankie Liles. Frankie Liles is not going to stand still, get hit by those cannon shots of his. But on the other hand, Frankie has had a long layoff. Frankie's had surgery. Frankie is at the 35-year point and starting to wear out, and his last appearances have not been very impressive. So he's ripe. Will this kid take it? Will he go out and steal a pie from the window sill? Well, that's what makes boxing so darn good to watch. You just don't know.
And the champion, Frankie Liles, his 8th defense, won the belt in his first title shot back in '94 over Steve Little. 7 title defenses include wins over Michael Nunn, a war with Tim Littles to avenge his only loss. But he hasn't fought since April of '98. That's about 14 months when he outpointed Andrei Shkolikov. He hadn't fought 9 months prior to that. But a torn right rotator cuff, the reason for his latest layoff. He says it's fully healed. Bobby, here's a guy he's fought only 4 times in the past 3.5 years. Will the inactivity catch up to him?
You know, layoffs can always be hurtful, especially at the age of 34. He's going to be 35 years old soon. That's a big, big layoff, 14 months at that age, for his body to not be working and staying right. The rust factor, I'm sure it's going to be there. I expect him to start this fight slow and work himself back into it. A lot of guys try and do the work in the gym, but it's nothing like fight night. The adrenaline, the timing, everything's different. Small gloves. Certainly it's going to be a factor. How big, we'll find out in just a few minutes.
And as mentioned, nearly a decade older than Mitchell, plus rumors of muscle problems. That is the tale of Frankie Liles as he makes his way into the ring. Let's size him up. We check out the tail of the tape. And yes, the biggest disparity is the age. Liles 9 years older than Mitchell, 2.5-inch height advantage for the champion. Both right at the 168 limit, and a 2-inch reach advantage for Liles. And the key Massachusetts rules for this world title fight: there is a standing 8 count. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Fighter cannot be saved by the bell except in the final round. Accidental headbutt occurs before the end of the 4th. The fight is a technical draw. If it happens after the end of round 4, they go to the scorecards. So here at the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington, Mass, we're getting ready for our main event. It's the WBA Super Middleweight Championship. Frankie Liles versus Byron Mitchell. Let's get the official introductions from our ring announcer, the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the Shriners Auditorium here in Wilmington, Massachusetts, for the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Don King Productions and Showtime Championship Boxing. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the World Boxing Association, the President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor Victor Callejas, along with the Massachusetts State Boxing Commission. The chairman is Mark DeLuca. Positions at ringside, Dr. Patty Yofi, Dr. Leonard Weiss. Timekeeper at the bell, also keeping count of the knockdowns, we have Mickey Finn. Introducing to you our judges scoring this bout from ringside, Vinnie Lee, Bob McCoy, and Don O'Neill. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from the greater Boston area, it's showtime. And introducing to you our referee in charge of this, our main event, Jerry Leone. Introducing to you, ladies and gentlemen, the challenger, fighting on my right out of the blue corner, wearing blue trunks with gold trim, and joining us from Ozark, Alabama, He weighed in at the super middleweight limit of 168 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with 19 wins, no losses, and 15 wins coming by way of knockout. He is ranked the WBA #1 super middleweight contender. Introducing the challenger, Byron Mitchell. And his opponent across the ring is the defending world champion. On my left, fighting out of the red corner, he is wearing white trunks with blue lettering and fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He weighed in the same weight as his opponent, 168 pounds even. His record stands at 32 wins, 1 loss, 1 no contest with 19 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he is making the 8th defense of his title. Here is the defending WBA super middleweight champion of the world, introducing fabulous Frankie Liles. Once again, a referee in charge now to give instructions, Jerry Leone.
You've received your instructions prior to coming into the ring. A few reminders. Listen to my commands. I won't have to touch you if you listen to my commands. It's the way I like it. Respect the bell. Don't hit on or after the break. If I say stop, stop and listen to my commands. Keep the punches up. 12-round championship bout. Good luck to both of you.
Tall, rangy, awkward southpaw Frankie Liles. Not a particularly fast starter, more of a workman-like style. Very patient, a cool pro, slick, smooth technician, but also has the power. Big punch is the right hook. Byron Mitchell says, well, you'll have to get by me first if you want to get to Roy Jones Jr., which is what Frankie Liles told us he really wants. Mitchell, good-looking physical specimen, well-defined, washboard-type stomach, former Golden Gloves champion. 1 year away from a degree in sports medicine and nutrition at Northern Michigan University. Very strong and fast, also with a powerful right, sledgehammer right.
You can expect a big-time chess match right here early.
Yeah, early, although he said nothing bothers him with left-hand. Nothing bothers him with left-handers. He's beaten 3, although 2 of them dropped him, so he had some trouble.
Yeah, he was floored twice by left-handers, came back to knock out both. He was 0-3, though, against southpaw Antonio Tarver in the amateurs, and wanted to offer a big thank you to Tarver for getting him ready. Feels the
That's
key.
a heck of a thank you.
Yeah, well, he said it was a learning experience, and it helped him. He feels the key will be his speed.
Yeah, he said, too, he said it's clearly he has to nullify Liles' right hook. He said that's the big weapon, that's the bomb. If he can nullify that, that could be a heck of a fight.
He calls Liles basically a one-handed fighter, the right hand, and you can't really argue with that. But he says to neutralize the right, just when he thinks I'll go away from it, I'll go the other way. He says, bottom line, I'm faster. Well, we'll see.
He's 9 years younger. He should be faster. But he may not be as clever.
Liles tore his supraspinatus tendon in the Shkolnikov fight. That's a fancy way of saying rotator cuff on the right side. Said he was in denial for a while, plus an x-ray didn't reveal anything. Finally had arthroscopic surgery in July. Do you think it could still pose a problem, Purdy?
No, I don't. I think that should be well healed. I mean, he took a long time. He took good physiotherapy. It's not a big. That's not a big deal.
Not a biggie.
And if he's training since January, lightly, moving in lightly, he's had plenty of time to test it, get it right, make it strong.
He told us that he feels Mitchell is not a threat. He says, I'm prepared. I've been training, as Bobby said, since the start of the year. The fact that Mitchell hasn't gone far in fights makes no difference. I'll just fight my fight, says Frankie.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a pretty effective straight left hand Frankie Liles threw.
And he's hit him 2 or 3 times with that left hand, Bobby. It's not the first time that landed in this fight. He's already hit him 2 or 3 times with that. That was the first power one it landed. There it is again.
Big left hook by Frankie Liles. He is a natural right-hander. He has powered both hands. Here's the right hook.
Frankie Liles fighting a little faster pace than normal. He's usually a little more settled, a little more boxing, not as much banging.
Here's a bang.
Trying to make a statement.
Combination to the head by Frankie Liles.
And he gets Mitchell all riled and he's pitching bombs. The only difference is his aren't landing. Oh.
There's another right hook that landed by Frankie Liles right off the neck. Good opening round for the champion.
All right, nice work, Frankie. Okay, Frankie, look here. We're doing fine. Still establish the jab. Don't get away from the jab. Still establishing the jab, okay? Let's double up on it sometime, okay? Use a little small feint, then drop a solid left hand on, okay? And right behind that is the hook. Now, one thing, when he starts rushing into you, throw the quick 1-2, 1-2, and a 3, okay? 1-2, and a 3.
But you have to work on the plan. You know we're trying to set up the big hook, right? We got to roll under. Don't stand straight up. Understand? We got to roll under, go to his body, and pressure. We're too far outside. We got to suck his titty, man. Get inside. Understand? And go to the body. Not that wide, just short punches. Right in the shoulder inside, okay?
That's your kind of corner round, Bobby.
Come on, baby. Okay. Tight difference.
Gotta call it like it is.
Well,
That's Jimmy Williams with 2 M's, not the Boston Red Sox manager who spells it with 1 M, with some interesting language there in the corner.
Well, English language is subtle.
Round 2. Well, in round 1, the champ showed little signs of ring rust. Hasn't fought in more than a year. Keep that in mind.
And he showed a little, what he never shows before, a little urgency. I want to get in here and get this thing out. He usually is so slow. 3 or 4 rounds go by with nothing. He fought a pretty good first round for him.
Mitchell showed a pretty good chin, too. He caught a couple of those left hands right down the pipe, right in the button, no reaction. A couple of the right hooks to the ear side of the head, no reaction. What he's not doing, though, he's not working in behind the jab. He needs to use that little feeler, the jab. The jab he puts out there, he pecks with it, but he uses it as a rangefinder and fires the right hand. He needs to throw 2 or 3 of those out there to close the gap and get that right hand home. And, as his corner said, go to the body.
Yeah, and the way he said it, to get in so close, well, he's not close. And that's why nothing is working for him. He's got to get in close. He's got to follow that jab in close. He's got to get into this guy. But as soon as he gets close, there goes the legs of Frankie, and he gets out of trouble.
Mitchell trying to fight on the inside. He says that's the strongest asset of his game. Reaches out with a short, crisp right that got Liles right on the face. Left-right combination by Liles, effective, and a straight right hand by Liles.
Something that you want to notice, too, that right now, Mitchell seems to be able to dictate which way they move. He's moving his left stronger than Frankie. He's moving to his right, so Frankie, although he's timing with that left hand.
A thunderous left uppercut comes Mitchell, puts Liles down. What a turn of events.
Big right hand. Frankie never saw it.
Never saw it. The lights went out.
A countering hit right by Byron Mitchell at the 138 mark of round 2. It's not the first time Frankie Liles has been down. It's the 4th time in his career.
Well, I said this kid can punch. You just saw it. He can punch.
You notice they're stepping on each other's feet, too, a couple times now.
Well, the southpaw style of Frankie Liles causing that awkwardness.
Well, this kid is patient because he should be swarming. He had a champion down. He's not in good shape, and he doesn't swarm over him. And he certainly got 42 seconds to go. Plenty of time to go work. To leave a calling card to when he goes back. He remembers 2nd round off.
Well, let's see how Frankie Liles responds, and he responds well. Going to the head with left-right combinations.
Frankie Liles punches, though, Steve, they seem to be lackluster. They don't seem to have any zip in them.
I was going to say, he's punching with nothing. He's punching it. His arms are going out there with feathers on the end of it.
But he fights with a lot of heart. He does have ring savvy. He's trying to recover, get a second win here as he was stunned earlier in the round.
Well, this kid will never have another good opportunity like that unless he lands again. He had him where he wanted him.
We've seen Liles in trouble before, and he's come back to win, so.
Well, he blew that 10-8.
Get a big towel. It's all right. It's all right, Frankie. Keep it up. Keep your hands up. Now we're going to go to work. Put your head over. Put your head over, Frankie. Put your head over the bucket. It's all right. All right, that's the way to work. All right.
Here you see Frankie Liles with his on the right-hand side. He throws a nice straight left, but as he's backing up, he gets caught right on the top of the head. Never saw the punch, and the second one, and the third one almost got him while he was flat down from the overhead. Frankie lands a nice straight left, which was already ahead of us, and that right hand on the head. Top of the head's very soft, softest part of your head, and it hurts. There's the straight left he landed, right down the pipe. but he didn't protect himself on the top of his head. I don't know why he just bent over like that.
I think he got hit right before he bent over. There was a little punch. It wasn't much, but something happened to him because he collapsed on that. He went over, and then he got hit with a punch on top of the head. You know, he got hit a sneaky punch, but he was in big trouble, Bobby, big trouble. This guy should have swarmed, should have really taken it to him.
Well, after the respite, we'll see if there's a little more zip and sting in Liles' punches, which was not the case after he got knocked down.
Well, he is a good champion. He's a guy that
He's resilient.
Back. He's resilient. Don't look for him to fade here because of this.
Let's not forget, too, we're looking at a fighter in Mitchell, good as he is and good as he appears to be, has never been past 8 rounds. That might be in the back of his mind, too, that he may have to save some energy for late rounds, the championship round.
He says his conditioning is not where he would like it to be because of that, and he may have a sense of urgency. So the champion going down at 138 into round 2 from a right to the top of the head.
All the more reason to attack.
Big left hook.
And a straight right hand and a big swing and a miss by Byron Mitchell.
Byron Mitchell right now is getting, you know, he's not a seasoned pro like Frankie Liles. He's getting a little excited. He's telegraphing big time. He could walk into one doing that.
He is going barroom. He's winging big punches, but he's leaving himself wide open.
Can't get too cutesy here.
Not with this guy. Not with Frankie Liles.
A seasoned, experienced veteran like Frankie Liles, longtime champion.
Mitchell's trainer told him to start moving under that right hook, and he did just a minute ago through right hand to the body, listening to his corner very well.
Liles bopping some shots now up the face of Mitchell. Mitchell coming back, counters with a right.
Mitchell apparently has a pretty good chin because he's going to be getting hit straight shots, hard shots.
Oh, a big right hook there by Frankie Liles off the head of Mitchell, but Mitchell again showing the good chin.
Hey, step back.
Frankie Liles has a tendency to, when fighters are coming in low, to pull him from behind the head, and that's why he winds up getting hit in the cup so often, because he pulls him down with that right hand.
Yeah, he feels that he is fouled frequently, but it's probably his own doing.
Some of it is his doing.
Mitchell answers his skeptics who feel he may not be ready for this jump because of his level of competition.
Two good combinations, two good combinations.
He says, I've sparred with world champions, top 10 fighters. This is where I belong. Well, wild swing and a miss, but that wasn't even close.
He went big game hunting there, boys.
He went Hollywood on that one.
Actually, it felt good here in the arena. Got a little air going.
Frankie Liles still appears to be somewhat lackluster. He doesn't have zip and power. He's moving while he's punching. That left hand, that straight, that clean, should have done more damage.
I'll say this about young Mr. Mitchell, not showing much respect for the champion. He says, I've always carried myself like a champion outside the ring, so I don't feel the pressure inside the ring. Byron Mitchell, the challenger in the blue.
Well, after a great round of knocking down the champion, he gave a round back.
Yep.
He gave it away.
Oh, a winging right hook there by Byron Mitchell right off the top of Liles' head.
And Lyle felt it all the way down to his heels. Wow, big shot.
Give me the stool. I thought you were going to walk with the stool. Give me the stool. I thought you were going to walk with the stool, man. Damn, man. Come on. I'm going to work on that eye, right on that eye. Take a deep breath.
Breathe deep, baby.
You've got to keep slipping inside. You got to go to the body and throw them punches straight. Understand? And put them together, okay?
Get some water for him, Jim. You're doing great. Okay?
We need combination.
Mitchell throwing his thudding shots. He is swinging for the rafters. There's a big left hook high on the top of Frank Liles' head. Sometimes when you hear those shots and they make a big thud, they're not that powerful. Here's another look at him going to the body with that big left right hand, then the big left hook up top. Frankie's on the move, so that punch doesn't really have the effect it should.
But it's getting his attention. It's getting Liles' attention. He's fighting a little bit of caution in him, and he does not have the power. He does not have the power he had in that first round. He's still trying to recover from that knockdown.
Byron Mitchell, 19-0 with 15 knockouts. His first world title shot. Trying to take the belt away from Frankie Liles, who's held it since 1994. Mitchell, born in Orlando, Florida, lives in Ozark, Alabama. Rated #1 by the WBA, despite the fact that he hasn't fought anybody up till now.
But right now, he's proving that the people who rated him in the top, at least top 5, he's warranting that rating. But even at that, he hasn't really beaten anybody that's a proven fighter. I don't think #1. I think that was a little bit of a gift.
Well, he's in the hunt now because he's even Steven with rounds on my unofficial scorecard, and I think this is up for grabs. This is certainly not going to be a one-way fight.
What I think Mitchell needs to do, he needs to work in behind that jab. He's not getting close enough to Frankie to be effective for enough of the round. He's not going to land those big shots that he's telegraphing and drop Frankie every other round, so he's got to work to win the rounds.
Mitchell, the aggressor, coming forward, pressing the attack.
Sometimes in a peculiar way, an early knockdown works against a young kid because he thinks, well, that's all I got to do is knock this guy down. He spends the rest of the fight looking for that knockdown and forgets to work for it. He's got to work for it with this guy. Liles is not going to sit here and give him the title.
It is a mandatory defense. Frankie Liles in the white, a world champion who has fought in relative obscurity. But that is not to take away from his ring smarts, his courage, his speed and power.
The round is a little more than half over, and still Mitchell hasn't really done any work.
He hasn't built on that knockdown. We approach the final minute of round 4, scheduled for 12 for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship. Oh, a straight left hand, and then another left by Frankie Liles. Effective punching.
That was Frankie Liles' best punch, and Mitchell showed no ill effects from it.
But he's getting gonged regularly, and that's a big point builder. Big point builder. Boy, he landed a whole load of shots and nothing in return. Nothing in return from Mitchell.
Big mouse under the left eye of Byron Mitchell.
From that right hook.
There's another straight left that got through the gloves of Mitchell.
That left is going to be there all night.
There's another one.
If he can put some power in it, he can knock him out with that.
And don't forget that nasty right hook that Liles has as well. That's been a big knockout weapon. Well, Liles is beginning to score at will here now. He has taken over command.
He's taken the young fighter to school.
Disappointing for Mitchell. Disappointing.
Reach it down. Okay, Frankie. Okay, Frankie. Good round. Frankie, keep your hands up. Kind of move to the right. The movements you're doing is good now, but you got to continue that.
Frankie Liles executing very well here in this round, getting his strength back. Double jab, left hand, right down the pipe. Follows up with another one. If Mitchell's going to give it to him, Frankie Liles is going to take it. Here's an overhead look at it. And it's just very simple. It's just a 1-2. Throws a jab, then another 1-2, and one more. Comes right back. 1-2. Jab, left hand. Very effective. Mitchell has got to make Frankie Liles pay. He cannot do that and win this fight.
If you can't, I'm going to stick the jab. If you're not jabbing, you're too far out. Watch the back of
these rounds by points. You got to get busy.
Don't be straight up.
Well, at least they're giving him the right idea. They're losing the rounds by points. One wonders why Mitchell shut down the shop for that round. I mean, he just did nothing. Nothing. And he ate a lot of leather.
I think he's still too excited about the power in his right hand. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah, he's looking for that one bomb, but if he doesn't throw it, he ain't going to land it.
Frankie Liles being guided by former head coach of the '88 U.S. Olympic team, Kenny Adams, who had Roy Jones, Michael Carbajal, Riddick Bowe, Ray Mercer, Kennedy McKinney.
Good group you just mentioned.
We are told that was actually a 70-second break, so a little extra breather for the two fighters. Liles cornered during and after round 4 told the champ to use the jab to slow him down, get busy, force him back, keep him in the center of the ring. Don't wait around, step around him, and Liles heeding that advice nicely.
See, Frankie Liles retreats very quickly. He's got long legs, and he takes big steps back, and he's hard to reach when he does that. Mitchell has to come behind 2 and 3 jabs. Even if he just uses that little rangefinder, he's got to be in step with it. He's got to step with it, or that right hand is never going to reach it.
Bertie, how's that left eye look?
It looks nasty. It's swollen. It's going to get very swollen. And for good reason. It's getting popped over and over and over and over again. This guy doesn't even try to defend it.
A series of straight left hands by Frankie Liles doing damage to the face of Byron Mitchell.
He's landing right on that spot, over and over and over again, like a machine.
And Mitchell's trunks are beginning to slide a la Fernley Feliz.
Well, Mitchell's corner better tell him, hey, get under that and start fighting. he'll just stand there and take everything. There's a thing called a counter punch in boxing.
He tried just there, but it was a grazing blow.
Well, his corner said to him, "You're too far outside. You've got to get underneath to get inside. You got to work. You can't stay out there. It's too much range that Liles has, and he's too effective from outside."
Now step in. Now step in. Now step in. See, it lets him go. He had him right on the ropes where he could work. Now step in.
That right hand was blocked beautifully by Liles.
Flex.
He has no chance from outside, but stepping in, he's got a beautiful chance. Because obviously the kid can punch. Now.
Go hit him. Go hit him. Come on. Come on. Come on. Frankie. Good. Flex.
Tell you what, Liles can play both ends of the court. He can do defense. He's got some moves to avoid punches.
But this is part of the reason some of his fights are so boring, is he'll do a little tap-tap and he'll run around. When a guy comes in, he'll just hold him.
Yeah, he doesn't see the need to get hit. I mean, if he can, with those big legs, if he can get away from a guy as soon as he advances, why do that? Then the guy stops, you come on and pound it like he's doing right now. He can win this fight just doing this.
And that may be part of the reason for the fact that he hasn't gained the recognition outside boxing circles that he would like. That's not a knockdown. He said he's just content with boxing soundly, whether it's a knockout or a decision. That's a slip. So he doesn't seem too intent on gaining the recognition.
Well, Frankie's found the way to win. Purely because Mitchell's giving it to him.
Because you're waiting too long. Don't look. You got the fire when he fired. You in a different. No, but
You're not firing.
You're not firing.
You may think you are, but you're not firing.
You're not firing.
You see that eye closing up.
You're
It's getting ugly in color and ugly in size.
You dropped the champion of the.
And here's one of the reasons why. As Mitchell's coming in, Frankie Liles is being very effective with that jab. There's one in the face. There's another one with the left hand behind it. Not all of them are getting through, and a couple of the right hooks, I'm sure, land on that eye as well. He's just covering right now as Mitchell, and he's not really bringing in the offense. Here's an overhead shot. A little trip in the corner. Legs get tangled up. Frankie Liles takes his seat for a moment.
Interesting what they were telling Mitchell in the corner. He says, you may think you're firing punches, but you're not. You dropped the champion, but you aren't taking advantage of that. And the fact that he did drop the champion, you guys pointed out, may have been the worst thing that could have happened to him tonight.
Yeah, he's looking for it again. He's looking for that one bomb that's going to do it, but he's not throwing the punches he needs to.
There's no question about it. He needs to put combinations together and do it now.
So, to point in, to go in with a jab is what he needs. Bobby pointed out that cuts the distance, but gets him in a position where he can punch, where he can go to it. He doesn't do it. One punch and out, and Frankie's gone. As he follow.
See, Mitchell can't just leap in with the big shots. He's not going to get home that way, and Frankie's, once he leaps in, Frankie's just going to grab him and hold on.
Well, still doesn't seem to have the pop, the power back in his punches, but a key to victory certainly will be to continue working that eye of Byron Mitchell. Liles in the white trunks, Mitchell in the blue. This for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship. It's scheduled for 12. We're almost halfway through.
I would not think anybody could take that as much as he's landing that left hand for 12 rounds. I mean, in a little while, he's got to start fading with it. That's just too much left hand. Too much power right in the face. There it is again.
There is the stinging jab. Is that right hook? A right hook by Frankie Liles. Well, Mitchell not used to this. Most of his fights have ended early. And he is concerned, he told us, with his conditioning. That's his biggest weakness.
As long as he's going to take these shots, he might as well get off a couple.
He's not really working here. I really believe that knockdown went to his head, and he cannot get refocused on what to do and where to work.
The longest Mitchell has ever gone is 8 rounds back in '97. He's had 11 first-round knockouts in his 15 knockouts, 14 of his 15 KOs in 3 rounds or less. So this is a whole new ball game for Mitchell.
Do it again! Do it again!
He's never fought anybody the caliber of Frankie Liles.
Liles is using him like a bag, like a punching bag. It's just bibbity-bop, 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 and move away when he wants. He's the one that's doing the work. The other guy's doing nothing. Mitchell's doing nada.
He's literally just following around and taking some shots. Every once in a while, he loads up with a big shot, and he needs to go back to school a little bit.
I like to listen to the corner and hear what the heck they got to tell him, because somebody's got to be telling him about cutting on the corner. Somebody's got to be telling him about how to step in and punch. I mean, he can't possibly not be getting instructions.
In the last round, his corner said, you maybe think you're punching, but you're not punching at all.
Final seconds of round 6, another round that belongs to Frankie Liles, who is oozing with confidence right now, dancing around the challenger Byron Mitchell, and showing no respect for the challenger.
Okay, you're losing every round, man. Look at what is he doing? He's not throwing no punches. You just following the man like you got you on a leash. Understand? You're waiting. You're inside. You're making the guy miss. You ain't doing nothing. Come on now. Let's get this shit together, man. Come on, man. You come over here and want my knowledge. When you lose, I lose. I'm not a loser.
What you see here, Frankie Liles on the right, he's got his hand down, okay? That's his right hand, it's down. But he's using his jab all day long, all day long. Then he's following straight through with the left hand as we roll the tape. He's just doing it all day. There's the little jab, falls a little short. Left hand square in the right eye of Mitchell. And he's doing it all day. An effective jab has been very effective. He's swelling that eye, he's working that eye, he's getting points. That was one of the keys. He's got to come out and establish that jab and set the pace.
And the unmarked face of Frankie Liles tells the story. He's not getting hit. The other guy's getting clobbered.
And the other face in dramatic contrast.
A contrast in results.
We are halfway through the fight. One knockdown. It came back in round 2, and believe it or not, if you're just joining us, it was the champion, Frankie Liles, who went down right in front of us at the 138 mark from a right to the top of the head. But the challenger, Mitchell, hasn't been able to capitalize on it since.
And make no mistake, when he went down, he really went down, because he went down on his face. You don't go down on your face unless you're really hurt.
It was a legit knockdown.
He got up from that, I don't know, but he got up, and the other guy didn't know how to put him away. Mitchell has just not understood what to do.
After 6 rounds, I have a 5 rounds to 1, but only a 3-point margin, 58-55 because of the knockdown.
How about unofficially, Ferdy?
58-55, exactly. And it's exactly right. We're watching the same fight.
There's how the fans see it at home. Liles up 4 rounds to 2. Well, of course, Mitchell took that second round when he knocked down Liles.
I can't remember.
Someone gave him another round.
Yeah,
somebody not sure which.
It must have been the first round or something, but I didn't see it.
Step back.
I didn't see it.
Byron with a lot of relatives around the country tuning in on the internet.
Let it go. You want to holler at this guy, but let it go. Let the right hand go. There, let it go. It would seem like he would get tired of holding his guard there in front of his face.
I'm told the online viewers gave Mitchell round 2, which we can understand, and round 3, which is a little tough to understand.
Yeah, I can't deal with that one. Right now, Frankie Liles is just doing business as usual, as he has for the past 3 or 4 rounds.
Bipping and bopping punches off the face of Byron Mitchell, in jeopardy of losing his first fight in 20. Frankie Liles, who we mentioned trained by Kenny Adams, trained for much of his career by Freddie Roach from Dedham, Massachusetts. Roach also trained former WBO champ Steve Collins. Straight right hand by Mitchell out of nowhere, and it stings Frankie Liles.
Yep, he buckled there.
He got his attention pretty good with that right hand, but see, Frankie's a master holding on, and this is what he's going to do. He's going to run and hide, and he's hard to find when he goes into hiding.
Well, this guy should be throwing something. Come on.
He needs to work him behind that jab again. Get Frankie in trouble again. Put a jab in his face. Give him something to worry about.
The guy gets him in trouble. He doesn't throw any punches. What's the matter with him?
Meanwhile, it's Liles coming back, but again, not much zip on those punches. Nevertheless, offering them up.
Almost to confirm that he was hurt, because his punches are nothing now. Wow, this kid has got a lot to learn.
As we head for the bell, and Liles finishes strong.
Yeah, he's stumbling back now. He's stumbling back now. You got to keep moving to the right. That's the key point. Frankie, every time you step over here, sometimes we catch the right hand, okay? That's my point, okay? Come on, baby. What is it? Come on. Smiley, put this towel back here.
Liles gets rocked with a right hand, but this is pretty much the only offense that was effective by Mitchell for the entire fight. There's a nice counter right hand, with no real effective follow-up whatsoever. Here's another look at it from behind Mitchell. He lands a nice right hand, but Frankie Liles is hard to hit clean too often. And the second shot, grazing, and after that, all misses.
Or no throws at all.
Right, Frankie, so we got to move to your right, okay?
He's looking for the counter punch, bro. He's looking for the counter every time, okay? Mouthpiece in.
I got it. When you finish with your punches, Frankie, get your hands up. Keep your feet.
Liles showing the good chin. He can take a punch.
What he's showing is the patience of a kung fu master. I mean, he is not in a hurry. He just keeps on bipping and bopping. He's satisfied to be here through 12 rounds and win this easy. Except this kid can explode on you.
Well, he's reaching the point of no return. We have 7 rounds in the books, and the gap just keeps widening for Mitchell. He's got to do something.
Yeah.
Frankie Liles, the 3rd longest reigning champion in boxing today, behind Ricardo Lopez and Felix Trinidad. He's held the title since 1994. But he has been fighting infrequently. Only 4 fights the last 3.5 years.
When Mitchell works in behind that jab, Steve, he's effective. He starts to land on Frankie. Frankie's got to get out of the way. The kid's too strong for Frankie. Frankie realizes that, so he moves off. But Mitchell normally, as he's doing now, doesn't really punch much.
He doesn't chase him. He doesn't punch him. He doesn't attack. Attack, that's the word here. That's missing.
Right hand, let's go, Byron. Right hand, let's go.
Mitchell just seems very confused right now. Just can't get it together. Liles is just too smart. He's outsmarting him.
Yep, there's an education going on here. It's costly.
Well, this is what they call going to school. The old veteran takes in shows. He comes off the floor to do it, which makes it even more of a lesson learned.
Byron Mitchell has become a human punching bag.
I just don't see how he takes all of that punishment without getting a little dizzy. I mean, they're not hard, but it's continuous. It never stops. 3 minutes of every round. And then on top of it, he's got to listen to him. Oh, nice.
But then a sneaky right hand out of nowhere once again by Mitchell.
But doesn't follow it up.
Right. And he should realize by now that the champion has a solid chin.
Mitchell just said something, too. Yeah. I don't know what he said, but I think he was alluding to the fact that as soon as Frankie got hit, he found a way to grab Mitchell and tie him up. So you can't leap into Frankie because he'll just duck and tackle you. He'll just put his arms around you. And
we saw that in the Tim Little's fight.
See, he will just tie you up. Just tie you up.
Final seconds of round 8. Another difficult round for the challenger.
Touch gloves after the round and smile at each other. That's something I can never do again. I'm trying to beat the heck out of him.
Maybe that's Liles' way of saying the next round is the last.
Let me do all this. Look here. You're throwing 1 punch at a time. You're not cutting up the ring. You throw right hand every time you throw that jab. You're not using your hook. And you got the best hook in the ring. You're not using none of your weapons. Okay? Byron, don't give in to your fatigue. Look, you giving in to your fatigue.
I'm not even tired.
But no, but
nobody can't find it.
No, but no, don't even do this to me.
Don't even try to find it. Just let him blow. Listen.
Mitchell trying to get something going, get a little momentum, gets a combination together, and he hits a nice right hand to the body, a left hook, and a right to the head. But as soon as he comes in, there's Frankie Liles. Duck and hold. Duck and hold.
You follow the man, but don't instead of cutting them off. You're jamming yourself. Tell him to the bottom. Now come on and do it on the work, man. Come on and work, Byron. Come on now. No, Byron. You ahead.
Well, this is the first time that Byron Mitchell is past 8 rounds. You could hear him in the corner saying, but I'm not even tired.
You just can't find him.
It's almost reached the point where it's almost a mathematical assurance that unless he does something strange, he can't get out. He can't beat this guy.
Well, I have him behind by 5 points with 4 rounds to go. That means he has to do something.
Yeah, get a 10-8 round.
Something, yeah, just short of amazing.
A couple of 3-point shots from the perimeter. Reggie Miller kind of shot.
Not the Reggie Miller we saw in this
I
series.
knew I'd get that something out of you. The old Knicks never died.
But in the past, yes. I agree with it. Jim Gray can certainly solidify that.
We're riding with a thrilling Knicks.
See, if he's not tired, he should just, you know, let it all go. Take a shot, gamble.
He's got to. He's getting to the point where there's just no way to win this way.
There's a little aggression from Mitchell.
But look how great he eludes it. The champion just used those big, long legs to get out of there.
It's not thrilling, exciting, but it's effective as far as Liles is concerned. It gets him, piles up the W's.
Your head's inside. Watch your heads.
There's all types of boxing. This is a boxing lesson. This is
Frankie Liles, when he jabs too, you'll notice he jabs and he's moving backward. He's on the retreat to a degree. And Mitchell, when he cups his hands, excuse me, he just tries to stuff the punches over the top, and he's not going to reach. He's got to walk through him or get inside him. He's got to step to him, and he's not. He's just trying to outreach Frankie. Frankie has the reach.
And Liles using that bad eye of Mitchell as target practice, keeps aiming for it. Mitchell missing wildly once again with a right hook. There's a left jab by Mitchell coming around with a right hook there, but it missed.
Again, don't hold.
Those punches beginning to find a home now by Mitchell a little more frequently.
because he's throwing them. I got a news for you. If you don't throw them, they don't land. Because he's throwing something.
He's also stepping toward Frankie Liles. When he's on the outside, Mitchell cannot counter from outside. If he slips a punch away, he can't reach Frank.
Mitchell has certainly perked up. A little bit of a second win here. He did tell us his strongest asset is his inside game. Well, let's see more of it. Start paying up the tempo.
We're paying a terrible price to get inside.
Indeed. Look at his left eye. He's squinting now. He's really hurting. That's almost closed up completely. And once again, Liles finding a home on that left eye.
Guys, right wrist.
Sit down. Let's put on. Look at Byron. Why are you walking the man? No, don't do that bullshit to me. That's only bullshit, man. You can't feel it. What the hell you in here for then? This is not a matter of feeling. This is for the world championship. What the fuck are you doing, man?
WBA championship.
Come on, Byron. You look like amateur. No. Look here. You ain't got. No. Look here. Don't give me that. No. Give me. You got the strength.
Come on, Byron. You got the strength. You got to get it out of here. You understand? The championship of the world is running out through your fingers. You got to get busy now.
You got to go inside yourself, Byron.
You can't wait.
Come on, man. Go inside yourself. Remember I told you somewhere you ain't never been. Remember I told you about somewhere you ain't never been. Now you got to go, man. Come on, man.
You understand?
Come on, Byron. Do it for your son. Don't do it for nobody else, man. Come on, man.
No, you don't need no water. He ain't earned no water. Come on, get out of here.
Go earn some water, baby.
Are we watching an old John Garfield?
No, let me tell you, that was so good. Bobby had his jacket off. Bobby wants to go finish the fight.
That psyched up.
Even Bobby got psyched up out there.
Got me all revved up. I'm in a fighting mood.
Unbelievable. Jimmy Williams and Newt Rockney working the corner of Byron Mitchell.
I'm ready to go take this guy on.
What a
It's for the
speech.
title, for God's sake. Come on.
Well, before the fight, Liles told us that at this stage of his career, he doesn't have to go for the knockout. And tonight, he does seem content to win a 12-round decision, which seems to be where we're headed. Unless, again, something dramatic happens, unforeseen. We hit round 10, double figures.
There you go. That's the kind of meaningful punch you got to put in.
And that's how he has to do this. A slip step to the inside. Step 2, Frankie Liles. You cannot counter him from outside. He's too fast. His arms are too long. He's got too good a rhythm.
And the first good hard shot to anything that he landed in the last several rounds.
Let go, get loose, let go, let go.
A fight when you get out. Take advantage. Act like this is a fight. Now there, you got him. Oh, man.
I would have taken a shot at something. I got to be honest.
Oh, man, he was right there. He waits to get inside. He's inside, he doesn't throw. He lets the guy walk out.
Staying too far away, staying on the outside. He has got to close that gap, or he'll never even have a chance of closing the show.
34-year-old Frankie Liles is taking 25-year-old Byron Mitchell to school. Mitchell began boxing at 16, won a Golden Gloves national title in '96. 105 and 14 as an amateur. 1 year away from a degree in sports medicine and nutrition at Northern Michigan. Turned to boxing full-time after completing 3 years. Frankie Liles, aside from fighting, owns a car dealership in Michigan. Part-time model and actor when he lives out in L.A. But he says, make no mistake, I box full-time.
And he's boxing full-time right now.
Right now, I was just about to say.
All over Mitchell.
Oh, nice shot.
A roundhouse left by Mitchell again out of nowhere, and Mitchell on the attack, but doesn't follow it up.
But throw it. He got him good. I mean, that was a resounding shot. He has to follow it now.
But one and done. It's been the problem all night. One and done.
Bobby, at least throw something. Come on, man. Come on.
I completely agree with you, Freddie. You don't have to sell me. I'm on your side.
Under 10 seconds in round 10.
Throw it.
Very reluctant, Byron Mitchell. Oh, there's one. A right hook right off the side of Liles' head just before the bell.
Boy, we could have done that.
If you do that in the beginning of the round, you'd have something.
Frank, you wait till the last minute.
Jump on that eye.
Understand?
We could have
You
done
wait
that.
till the last minute punch. Start off early throwing punches, okay? You only got 6 minutes. 6 minutes, and I want you to throw punches for 6 minutes.
Is this your legacy? You want to go out this way?
You throw one punch at a time.
Do what you did at the end.
Hold it just a minute. Hold it. Let me see.
You got it.
No, this is
Jimmy.
You're throwing one punch at a time. I taught you combinations. Where is the hook? You're throwing the right hand, not finish off the hook. You're not going to the body.
Here's that left hook that started to get his momentum a little bit. Liles throws the nice right hand, left hand, and he counters it with a beautiful left hook. But again, Frankie Liles is on the retreat. Mitchell's got to stay on top. Here comes the right hand toward the end of the fight. That was a little bit low. Followed with a hook. That was borderline on the belt line. We'll let him get away with that one.
I think there's still concern in the corner of Frankie Liles. There's a couple of those shots banging around like that at the beginning of the round may get you in trouble, and then there he is. He just hit him again on the left hook.
The championship rounds, round 11.
As corner told him, now, you know, don't throw it at the end, throw it at the beginning. There you go.
Oh, straight right hand, down goes Liles. Oh, brother. That's a flash knockdown. He got up quickly.
Frankie's okay, but this is what Mitchell needed to do.
This is what his corner told him. Start at the beginning. Well, he's got him now. Boy, if he doesn't go at him now, he is crazy.
That occurred 20 seconds into round 11. Let's see if he can continue the attack.
That's it.
A snappy straight right. He's got Liles in trouble again. Liles down to his feet.
Down again.
Remember, the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. And that's the second knockdown of the round.
Let's go, Frank.
One more knockdown, it's automatically over. We'll have a new champion. So the first knockdown 20 seconds into round 11, the second 53 seconds into round 11.
There's still over a minute and a half left.
Oh! Where he goes again? It's over. It's over. We've got a new champion. It's Byron Mitchell.
2 upsets and 2 nights of fighting. And
that was about to be a 10-6 round in a minute.
Exactly. What a shot, and he did what we all said he should have done all along. Fight, punch.
The 3 knockdown rule is an aberration here in Massachusetts. Under the unified rules, there is no 3 knockdown rule, but they made the change heading into this fight tonight.
I got news for you, Steve. We were about to see 4, 5, or 6 knockdowns if that continued, and after 4 knockdowns, I don't think any referee in the world could let a fight keep going. So
I agree.
There was plenty of time, and Frankie was hurt. The kid's power was the difference.
There was 3 knockdowns. The kid was really on fire. He's in power. Now Frankie doesn't have the ability to get away from the punches because he's hurt. Now comes damage. Now comes a knockout to 10.
A changing of the guard. Byron Mitchell pulls off the upset.
We'll take a look at how it happened. 3 knockdowns, the 3 knockdown rule being in effect tonight because of the change in the rules. But I think it was probably academic. I think he would have gone down more.
One of those knockdowns I'm not so sure of. I mean,
well, here's the first one. It's a little bit of a trip, and there's a little bit of a left
it's a good
hand.
shot.
See, his legs weren't under him, but it was a good, clean left hook, right hand.
That was okay. That was okay. It's the second one that I thought he sort of collapsed and got pushed down.
Second knockdown, Mitchell works him into the corner, and he's hitting him. And Frankie Liles.
Now watch him push. Well, watch him push. See that?
Frankie Liles, you know what? Frankie just took the knee. Frankie took the knee.
Exactly right.
That's a knockdown. I know. Unfortunately, I've had to do that once in a while myself.
Bob, you're still doing it, but you're doing a great job on this replay. So let's go to the third one.
Last knockdown. This is a very good right hand. It opens up a big cut over Frankie's right eye too. There it is, right there. That landed in the corner of the eye. You'll see when his head comes up. There's blood there. He's bleeding, and it hurt him. You can see his legs shake. He really, really was not good at that time.
And you spotted a cut there, Bobby. I didn't spot it right then, but he has a cut.
Yeah, he did. He got him. He got the third knockdown, the last right hand. He hit him right in the corner of that eye.
One more.
Well, we'll get the official word from our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a time of 1 minute 17 seconds in round number 11 with the 3 knockdown rule in effect here in the state of Massachusetts. Our referee in charge, Jerry Leone, stops the contest. The winner by way of knockout, still undefeated, and the new WBA super middleweight champion of the world, Byron Mitchell.
Liles was probably ahead on all 3 judges' scorecards, but we'll wait and see when we get the official tally. The relatively unknown, unheralded Byron Mitchell dethrones longtime champion Frankie Liles, who had held the belt since August of 1994. Liles unsuccessful in his 8th title defense, his first loss in 9 world title bouts. Let's go up to Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Steve. Byron, it looked as though you were hesitant to throw a punch the entire fight. You probably lost 9 of the 11 rounds, right, and then you came out of nowhere. Why such inactivity?
Because I knew I was behind, and I had to. We worked hard in camp. Tony Otava, Jimmy Williams, Larry Berrien, we all worked hard in the gym, and they got me in the best shape of my life. It's just, you know.
Why not throw any punches, though?
I had
until the last 2 hits.
I had to find myself because I lost focus in the beginning. You know, after Frankie hit me with a good left hand, and it messed up my eye, and I felt it right away, and that kind of threw me off track because I wasn't ready for it. But you know, I just kept digging deep and kept digging deeper, and I found myself again.
Were you surprised with what occurred there in the 11th round?
No, I knew it could happen. I just, you know, I had to take the punishment, you know, before it happened. I should have.
And how is your eye? Because it does look like it has been punished.
Very good, don't you?
Yeah.
Very good.
How is your eye?
Oh, it's okay. It's just a little swollen. Yeah, you know, this happens all the time. I've given many, and now it's my turn to receive. I know, you know, what goes around comes back around again.
Would you fight Frankie again?
Yes, I would.
Do you feel as though you benefited from the rules here in Massachusetts? Because in most fights, in almost any other place, the 3 knockdown rule has been waived.
Right.
You feel you benefited?
Yeah, I think I benefited, but you know, the inevitable is going to happen anyway.
That's it.
All right, congratulations. Let's now bring in Frankie. Frankie, it appeared as though you were dominating this entire fight. You went down in the 2nd round, And then in the 11th round, what was it? Was it rustiness? Was it lack of concentration? What would you attribute this to?
Fatigue, and then I just didn't listen to the instructions of the corner. First of all, I'd like to say happy belated birthday to my mom. Happy birthday to Mr. Hubbard tomorrow. And Gene Kilray and the rest of the crew in Vegas.
Fatigue is what got to you?
I did a lot to lose the weight, so I think that contributed to the me laxing up in the late part of the fight. But I can't take anything away from him. He's a good, young, strong guy. You know what I mean? He kept the pressure on. He did what he was supposed to do. He listened well to his corner.
Were you surprised that he refused to throw punches almost the entire fight? Were you surprised at his inactivity?
One more time?
Were you surprised at his inactivity and lack of throwing punches almost the entire fight?
Well, no, because I knew, like I said, I felt that I had him. You know, Michael Nunn did the same thing with James Toney, you know, so I just got careless and he caught me in the end. So, you know, like I said, I had to take my hat off to him.
Do you want to fight him again?
Oh, no doubt. I'm a true champion. I fight against anybody. I never ducked anybody. So, yeah, I'd like to do it again, but providing Don King gives me another opportunity.
Were you rusty? You have had just one fight in 2 years.
I don't think that contributed to it. Like I said, it was over a year since I made the weight, and I did so much to make the weight. And like I said, I have a great corner: Shadi Saluki, Ruben Gomez, Luis Spada, Coach Adams, my brother Keith, cousin Fred. So everybody worked diligently to get me in shape and get me together. And when I got in the ring, it was my turn to step things up. And at the end of the fight, I didn't have it left. I just kept trying to push.
Final thought, how difficult is it going to be for you to live with this based on the fact that you dominated this fight with the exception of a few punches?
Not at all, because I'm a survivor and I come back stronger next time, so it's no big thing. I got a great group of people working with me, so nobody gives up on me, and we're going to still continue to stay with it.
Okay, Frankie, thank you.
Appreciate it, Jim.
All right. Let's send it back to you, Steve.
All right, Jim, a class act. Frankie allows his first loss since '92 to Tim Littles, his only other defeat. Byron Mitchell remains undefeated, 20-0 with 16 knockouts. Championship belt switching hands for the second straight month here on Showtime. Liles was ahead on all three official judges' scorecards, 98-91, 98-92, 98-91. And as far as the online scoring results from our main event, here's how it looks. Frankie Liles was ahead 8 rounds to 3. Before he was put down by virtue of the 3 knockdown rule. If you took part, we thank you for your participation. Well, we'll start with the fight. Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, quite a surprise here tonight.
It was. I'll take the heavyweights first and get to this later. The heavyweights was predictable. Ruiz had his tough night cut out. He did his work well. He knocked out his man. He got to where he wanted to go. This was a limited, as we said at the beginning, a limited upset. Yes, it was an upset, especially since it was 98-91 going into the final thing. But we knew this kid could punch. We knew he could punch. And this, folks, is boxing. That's what makes it so good. A guy could be losing all the way down to the home stretch. And bingo, he hits the 3-pointer, and we're home with a new champion.
Yeah, I did say surprise, but as we turn back over to Bobby Ches, I didn't really mean by the fact that this was an upset tonight. I meant because of the flow of the fight, because we all said going into this fight that this kid Mitchell had a chance to win, and he did.
Well, he really did have a chance to win. I think he proved that very early on. He had the tools, he had the power to get to Frankie Liles, but he lost focus after the knockdown, and also, as he said, a good shot to the eye. It bothered him. He got flustered. He couldn't focus. He couldn't get the focus back. You know, he caught up with himself late, but he was cutting it close.
I'll tell you what. Well, let's go back and take a look at the highlights of tonight's action from Wilmington, Massachusetts, just outside Boston. We'll start off with the Ruiz-Feliz fight.
Again, the hard work of Ruiz paid off. The kid really wasn't in his class. He was good to stand up and take the punishment he needed. It's a good tune-up fight, and that is what we saw, a tune-up fight. Bobby.
And the main event, Byron Mitchell stepped up to the level of competition.
Well, I'll tell you what, Byron Mitchell had a lot of flaws here tonight. Frank exposed a lot of them, but he is a work in progress, and I think this kid has some real ability. He want to do some great things in the division. He's got the power. He showed a pretty good chin. Frankie hit him clean an awful lot. Shows good speed, movement. I think he's going to be a force to reckon with for quite some time.
4 knockdowns, including 3 that ended the fight with the 3 knockdown rule in round 11. The new champion, a perfect 20-0 with 16 knockouts from Ozark, Alabama. There he is, Byron Mitchell. Well, first it was Ruiz over Feliz. As hometown favorite, John the Quiet Man Ruiz hopes to now make some noise in the heavyweight division. And in the main event, undefeated but unheralded Byron Mitchell, stunning longtime champion Frankie Liles. Second major upset within 2 months here on Showtime. First time in nearly 5 years that Liles cannot be called champion. Once again, we'll present a 5-fight SCT pay-per-view event headlined by the always exciting WBA bantamweight champion Johnny Tapia versus Paulie Ayala on Saturday, June 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Then a month later on Showtime Championship Boxing, we'll present a doubleheader featuring IBF Junior Welterweight Champion Teron Millette versus Virgil McClendon, as well as the WBA Welterweight Championship with title holder James Page. Catch this action Saturday, July 24th at the special time of 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Showtime. Then 2 weeks later on Saturday, August the 7th on SCT pay-per-view, an exciting card highlighted by former IBF heavyweight champion Francois Botha facing Shannon Briggs. And also WBO junior featherweight champion Marco Antonio Barrera takes on number 3 contender Angel Vasquez. That's Saturday, August 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, live on SCT pay-per-view. That'll do it for another edition of Showtime Championship Boxing. We hope you enjoyed it. See you again in 2 weeks. For the Fight Doctor, Freddie Pacheco, Bobby Ches, Jim Gray, our entire crew, Steve Albert saying so long from Wilmington, Massachusetts.